Hello and welcome to lesson 1-4, order of operations. All right, this is one that is used throughout math forever. It is just kind of the agreed upon rules in how to solve a math problem to make sure that everyone is getting the right answer. Because once we start adding more than one value into a math problem or more than one operation, it's important to know which one comes first so that you can know how to properly solve the problem. So we have a couple of vocabulary words today. One of them is order of operations, which is just the order in which you solve a math problem. And the other one is a numerical expression. A numerical expression. And I'm going to actually type this out because it'll be more easier read. Maybe. Numerical expression is a math problem that is made up of numbers and operations. Okay, so numerical expression is just a math problem. Just a fancy way to say a math problem that's made up of numbers and operations, right? We've talked about numbers. We know numbers. We've known numbers for a long time. We talked about operations earlier on in this chapter. We have our four main operations: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And so this is just a math problem that is made up of numbers and operations. All right, so let's get into what is our order of operations. And you guys might remember this as a saying, or maybe you've heard this phrase before, but we like to use the phrase PEMDAS. Right? PEMDAS is the phrase we use to help us know which order problems get solved. So the P stands for parentheses, right? So parentheses is the first word. That's the first thing we want to look for. So parentheses, those are things that might look like this, or sometimes they might look like that. Parentheses are just a way that we group numbers together. So if we see anything in a parentheses, then we want to jump in and start solving those problems first. All right, next we have our E, which is exponent, right? So we want to deal with any kind of numbers that have an exponent in them. Right, our exponents when we have like a number like 7 squared, and so this squared is an exponent, right? So we want to make sure that we can solve those out before we go to anything else. All right, next we have M, but it's also M and D together. These two are together, so we want to solve them together. So I'm going to write them in the same color so we can remember that. So this is multiply and divide, right? So we want to multiply and divide together next. So if our math problem was 7 times 3 divided by 2, we would do 7 times 3 first because it comes first, and then we would do all of that divided by 2. 7 times 3 is 21. Then we would do 21 divided by 2 and get our answer, right? So if multiply comes first, then we multiply first. But if divide comes first, then we divide first. So if we have 8 divided by 4 times 2, you would do 8 divided by 4 first, which is 2, and then 2 times 2, which is 4. Right, so we would get to our final answer there by dividing first. So we multiply or divide whatever comes first, starting on the left and moving to the right as we go. And then just like multiply and divide, when we get to our AS down here, we add and subtract. Same thing. We group them together, add and subtract whatever comes first, starting on the left and going right. Okay, so this is, so if you're taking notes, this would definitely be something you want to have in your notes. You want to have this PEMDAS. You want to have that you know that multiply and divide are together. You want to know that add and subtract are together. You want to know that there's different kinds of ways you might write parentheses. All those things you want to remember, you want to have those in your notes so you can look back and use those. All right, so when we have a math problem that uses order of operation, one thing I like to do is I like to write out, at least to get started, I like to write out PEMDAS on the top of my page. And then as I go through, I cross off each thing I've done to know that I've completed my tasks to solve this problem correctly. Okay, so the habit that we can get into right now is writing out PEMDAS and crossing off each thing as we come to it. Okay, so if we had something like 27 minus 18 divided by 6. Okay, let's say this is our math problem here. And we're going to say, all right, let's go through PEMDAS. Let's see what we have. Pete, do we have any parentheses in this problem? Are there any kind of grouping aspects? No, there's not. E, are there any exponents? Are there any of the little numbers that are up higher? Nope, none of those. All right, MD, are there any multiplication or division problems? And yes, there are. There's a division problem right here. So we want to solve this division problem. And 18 divided by 6 we know is 3. And now we have 27 minus 3. Are there any more multiplication or division? Nope. So we'll cross that off, and then we just have addition and subtraction. 27 minus 3 is 24. All right, we have to make sure we're following this order. If you were to get a number that was different than that, if you were to get, let's say you did 27 minus 18 first, and you got 9, and then 9 divided by 6, and you get some kind of thing you don't like because it's a decimal, but you would get 1 1/2. 1 1/2 is a lot different than 24. We do not like 1 1/2. We like 24. Okay? So you got to make sure you're following the order. All right, let's try a different one. Let's write out our PEMDAS. And do you notice how I grouped together the MD and the AS right up there? That's so I can remember that I do them together. All right, let's say I have 36 minus 18 divided by 2 times 3 plus 8. All right, let's say I have this problem here. And we want to look through again and say, all right, do I have any parentheses? Nope, there's no grouping in this problem. Do I have any exponents, any little numbers? Nope, no little numbers. All right, now I want to multiply and divide starting on the left and going right. Remember, that doesn't necessarily mean multiply comes first. It means you do whatever one comes first. So here, if I'm starting with my 36 minus 18 divided by 2, I have a problem here. 18 divided by 2. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. I'm going to say 9. I'm going to rewrite everything else. 36 minus 9 times 3 plus 8. Now I want to see, all right, any more multiplication or division? Yes, I do. I've got one right here. 9 times 3, and 9 times 3 is 27. So now I have 36 minus 27 plus 8. All right, now I want to look and see any more multiplication or division. Nope. Let's move to addition or subtraction. And again, same thing. Doesn't matter which one comes first, or it does matter which one comes first. It doesn't matter if you find addition or subtraction. You just want to start on the left and work all the way to the right. So we're going to say 36 minus 27 is 9 plus 8, and 9 plus 8 is 17. And so our final answer would be 17. And just so you know, this right here is showing me your work. All of this right here, this is how you will show me your work, to show that you know. You're going to solve one step, you're going to rewrite your problem. You're going to solve the next step, you're going to rewrite your problem. You're going to solve the next step, you're going to rewrite your problem. You're always going to be solving and rewriting and solving and rewriting and solving and rewriting. Okay? All right. Let's do one more. Let's say I have wow, what a problem here. Look at this. This one has lots of things to it. So let's start by writing out my PEMDAS up at the top. And now let's talk about this. Let's see what's going on here. All right, so I'm starting. I can see I have some parentheses here. I have actually two sets of parentheses. I have one set here, and I have another set out here. So I want to start at my whole problem and say, all right, in my problem, do I have parentheses? Yes, I do. I have some parentheses right here. This is parentheses right here. And now, once I find my parentheses, I want to look inside my parentheses and follow PEMDAS again. So I'm going to look inside my parentheses and say, all right, do I have more parentheses? Oh, yes, I do have more parentheses. They're right here. So I'm going to now solve these parentheses very first because they're the parentheses inside my parentheses. And now I'm going to look inside that parentheses and follow my order of operations. I'm going to say, all right, do I have any more parentheses? No more parentheses. Do I have any exponents? No exponents. Do I have any multiplication or division, starting from left going right? I do. I have 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So I'm going to say this is 3, and this is 4 plus 3. And now I go to my addition and subtraction and say 4 plus 3 is 7. So now I'm going to say, all right, in this parentheses, this all equals 7. So now I rewrite my problem as 7 minus 2 to the power of 3. And I don't actually need these parentheses around my 7 here. Once it's just one number, you shouldn't need parentheses on them. Okay, now I'm going to solve inside my parentheses again. I'm going to start back over at the beginning of PEMDAS. I'm going to look, oh, I've got parentheses, so let's solve this out. 7 minus 2 is 5. And now that I have nothing else besides one number inside my parentheses, I can get rid of it. And then I have 5 to the power of 3, which is the same thing as we remember as 5 times 5 times 5. All right, I have 3 times the number 5. I'm going to say 5 times 5 is 25 times 5, which is 125. And there is my solution with grouping. All right, so we're going to talk about this some more in class. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have comments, please bring them prepared for class tomorrow so we can talk about them. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this. Goodbye.